I want to talk to you all about what you're going to need here. I think it's just been on my mind. Let me just be honest. Let me not even try to sugarcoat it. It's been on my mind at least once a year or every other year. I end up feeling very compelled, very, very encouraged to share this message, share this story. And I don't say it to strike fear in anybody's heart. I say it as a word to the wise. Okay. Um, you're going to need to have three things if you are going to prosper here, modern day America. Um, you are going to, girl, I wrote a list. I had to write a list. You're going to take advantage of your knowledge. If you migrated over here because you feel your family felt it would benefit you to come to America and have a better education, which is awesome, um, and have a better prosperous life, that is great. I really think that's not a terrible idea, but it gets hard when you eventually become disillusioned to how America is. America is not what you see on TV. It's partially what you see on TV with a lot of glitter and gold. When you come here, you're going to go through this process called disillusionment, where everything you thought was going to be, it's not. It's still hard over here. It's still challenging over here. There's still a lot of learning curves over here. Okay. And if you come here and you are of marriage age, now I'm speaking from a West African Fulani point of view. So that's what I know and that's what I'm speaking of. But most of our cultures are generally the same for the most part. But I'll just so you know, I'm speaking from that point of view. If you are of marriage age or of college age, right? Let's say you come just as you're like in high school. Your family's going to encourage you to get your education, but also they are going to encourage you to get what? Married. You are going to be expected to get married, especially as a woman, especially if you are the oldest daughter. Now, if you have parents that are slightly a little bit more unconventional, like my parents weren't big on forcing me into marriage. Thankful for that. But and also I was born here, so it's a different experience for me, but I've seen so much for our demographic that I feel like I just have to talk about this. If you come here for to get your education and suddenly they do a 360 on you and they're like, "Oh, we want you to get married." I need you to prioritize that education first, not because of the accolades that it come with, like, oh, I'll go be a doctor, oh, I'll go be a engineer, nurse, or whatever, the top three that all African parents want you to be. No, it's not about that. It's about resources. Because when you come to America, it is all about individualism here. Whatever country you came from in Africa is typically more collectivist society. It's a family unit, village unit, right? Here in America, is every woman and man for themselves for the most part. They preach, oh, family, freedom, and all the other stuff. No, everybody mainly only so genuinely cares for themselves, you know? And you're going to have to find the middle ground, okay? You're not going to lean too far into collectivism, be like, oh, my family, my culture, my world, all of that. No, that does not benefit you. I promise you, it doesn't. And you're not going to go, oh, only me. I'm the only one I could trust. I'm the only one that can do it right. That doesn't benefit you either. You need to stay in the middle ground. You need to find your balance between that collectivistic mindset of culture and unity and family and village and all that, and you're going to have to find a way to speak up for yourself, advocate for yourself, be an individual, go for your own goals, explore your own needs and wants and desires. Okay, that is where you are going to maximize your best outcome here. Now that you've migrated over, okay. You are going to need that because you are going to need resilience, okay? If you live in a household where you actually generally feel safe and supported by your family, whatever family member, because it'll be an auntie, uncle that ends up bringing you over sometimes, or a grandmother or things like that. And it's a multi generational household. You got your uncle, cousin, grandma, and y'all all sleeping in one room. It be like that. Like, I get it. I've been there. I get it, right? You are going to have to build that resilience and that courage, because when they start seeing you doing things that don't necessarily benefit them, or not even that, let me not say that, that scares them, because they see you growing in self-love and encourage and knowledge and experience, and you're becoming a woman, and you're making a path for yourself here, and things are working out for you. They Two things are going to happen. If you have a genuinely loving, supporting family, they're going to support you, they're going to encourage you. And then there are going to be some people, because not everything is perfect, there's going to be some people in your family that are going to curse you, hate you, dog you out, sabotage you, all the things. Okay? You are going to need that resilience. Okay? You are going to need that courage to step outside of the box and do what is best for you. Okay? Hear me when I say this. Hear me when I say this. You are going to have to take full advantage of the mental health resources in this country. What we have of it. We are not a perfect country, as you can see on the news. We are in late stage capitalism. Oh, hold on. My toast about to burn. Hold on. I was toasting my bread. Okay. You are going to have to take full leverage of your of the mental health resources here. Point blank period. Because when you're in school, for example, if you're in school, there's a bunch of resources that connect you to social services, like SNAP benefits, domestic violence shelters, for example, um, different things, a bunch of different things that you have access to, right? That you may not be used to having access to, depending on the country that you came from, right? So you are going to have to take full advantage of that. You cannot afford, hear me when I say this, I'm not talking money. You cannot afford emotionally, mentally, to not be sound or grounded. You cannot afford to not have a resource network, because you are going to be very tempted to be pulled into this mindset of us against them when it comes to migrating here. And then you're also going to be pulled into lifestyle materialistic things that come with being American. And it's going to be very hard, because that's not traditional for the average American person. You are going to do everything right and still be kicked to the floor, still not be able to take advantage of things. Welcome for those coming in. You are going to have to take seriously your mental health. You cannot yell, scream, fight nobody randomly in the street in America. You will go to jail. You cannot be so passive aggressive that you end up resenting somebody because you didn't get your needs met, because you didn't communicate. You cannot be a mean girl at work, degrade somebody, and think that that HR department is going to back you up, especially when you're our color. Oh, and speaking of work, for the love of all that is good and holy, please expand your career path outside of a CNA. If you genuinely want to be in medicine of some sort, I want you to explore all the paths. Yes, CNA is easy to get into, but do you want to be doing that type of work for the rest of your life? Because it's very easy to get comfortable. Explore, take advantage of your resources, have courage, have resilience. What else did I write here? Find that balance between collectivism and individualism. take advantage of that mental health resources. I'm telling you, because if push comes to shove and you have to leave home because you genuinely don't feel safe, like I had to, or you get pushed into a marriage that you do not want to be in, but they're forcing you to do it. Let's say you literally just graduated, you literally just got off the high school graduation stage, or you just got off the college graduation stage, and suddenly now everybody is telling you, "Eh, so I want to let you marry me sister in Peking. You ain't even take off your shoes yet. Eh, you not 21 now. It's time for born. What?" Suddenly they want you having kids and all the things. You know why? Because it's not about you. It's about them having this competition with each other for nothing but bragging rights. And even if you do all the things, let's say you got the degree, you went and got married. Now, oh, we want you to have babies. Okay, you have the babies. Oh, you only gave us two babies. What else? What else is there? We want three, four, five, six, seven, 10, even, I'm telling you, it has not everything that they want for you for your betterment sometimes is not really about you. It's just a projection. What we call a projection. Something taken internally from a specific point of view, mindset, or cultural belief system and pushed onto another individual. And because you grew up in it, you are more prone to it. You can love your culture, you can love your people, but that does not mean that you have to do every little thing that they say is good to do. Sometimes you are your own person, genuinely. And you could be your own person within an ecosystem of all of that. I'm going to give you two stories in case what I'm saying hasn't fully hit home yet. I had this friend, let's call her Jeff. I had this friend. We She recently migrated around the time I was in high school. We met at Arabic school. That's another thing. If Arabic is Islam is also a part of your culture, that's a whole nother hurdle in itself. But again, apply your nuance as you see fit. I'm just talking from experience. So I'm I meet her through Arabic school. We're super cool. Long story short, I end up graduating. We both go to high school, different high schools. I end up graduating, going to college. She ends up graduating and going to like a local, like community college situation, right? Everything's fine and dandy in terms of school and our friendship. But then she starts having issues at home with her stepmother. She's telling me about it, and we're trying to I'm trying to give her encouragement, and I've also had issues with my own stepmother, so like it wasn't nothing new to me, right? Um, Sometime around like my sophomore year, more or less, she hits me up and she says, I think it was around midterms. Yeah, it was around midterms. And she says, "Hey, I'm getting married on such and such a day. Will you come?" Mind you, it's been a few weeks since I last spoke to her, or the last time I was in town. So I'm like, "Girl, you getting married? What? To who?" Last time I checked, you was talking to two different guys. When did this happen? Which one of the guys was it? Come to find out, it's neither of the guys. Come to find out, it's some guy that her stepmother connected her with. Red flag number one. And she tells me like, "Oh, they've been." I said, "How long y'all been talking?" "Oh, for a little while now." And he proposed and everything. We're getting married this weekend. I said, "This weekend?" I'm like, it's the middle of my midterms, and I'm at school 4 hours away. So I'm like, yeah. Tell me more about this guy. So a sinking suspicion in my stomach, in my gut. Okay, and I'm very intuitive. I'm like, yo, so I'm sitting tight here in my gut. And I don't usually get clear gustiance like that, which is like the feeling, intuitive feeling within your gut. Like you get intuition, but I don't typically feel it in my stomach, right? So I'm like, tell me more about this guy because I don't understand how suddenly this is happening. In our community, we get married fast, just as fast as we bury fast. Okay, if you live, you die. It's going quickly. Okay, within a couple weeks. Death obviously is within the week. They because of the Islamic aspect of it. But we get married quick. So I said, okay. I said, okay, tell me more about this guy. And she says, oh, he's from this place and he has a store and he has this and he has that. And he said he'll pay for my school. I'm like, whoa, red flag number two. I'm like, okay. And once I'm gonna be able to live with him and blah 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 blah. And I said, how old is he? Old, older, right? I'm like, girl, I said, Jay, I love you, but you can't do this. I really don't think you should do this. Like, I understand you're struggling at home with your stepmom and everything, but I said, you're already in school. It's no point to break that to go suddenly go get married, especially to a man you haven't known for too long. And I said, and your stepmom is the one that connected you to this person. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, this woman don't like you. Why would she connect you to somebody who don't like you? And she's like, oh, I just want to live on my own. I said, I will help you try to even come to my school. But I don't think you should go through with this. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I said, okay, girl. Well, I can't come. Oh, why? I said, well, one is my midterms, and two, I don't feel comfortable about this relationship. You just not telling me about it, and that was hard for me, mind you. I'm like what 20? That's hard for me. One of my close friends is getting married, and I can't even like. There's my intuition is compelling me like, don't even bother. Don't even bother. Kind of let's fast forward a few days now. She calls me again. Hey, the wedding is this weekend. Are you coming? I said, no, it's midterms. Remember, I told you I can't leave school during my tests to come all the way down there and come all the way back. That would be too much. So, and mind you, 4 hours from Philly. It's a long way. We in the middle of Pennsylvania, okay? In the rural, in the boonies, okay? It was no way. And I didn't even have a car. So it would have been a lot to do that. So I said, you know what? It is what it is. I see all the pictures come up on Facebook. I see all the pictures and the videos on all the other social media platforms. I'm like, yeah, congratulations. As soon as I see that man face, that pit in my stomach grew. And I said, yeah, this not going to age well, but it is what it is. So she clearly, and typically she takes offense to it per usual, per expectations, because I can't blame her for that. Um, and everybody around you is telling you one thing, and the one person that is trying to tell you the opposite sounds like a hater. Completely understand, right? Fast forward, we don't talk. Fast forward about a year or two, I hear through the grapevine, aka my grandma, and all the gossip. She's unfortunately, um, there's rumors of her getting abused by it. She didn't get to finish school. She was pregnant by what, 3, 4 months in to the marriage. She moved to a whole nother state, you know? And there's nothing I could do at that point. But it hurts me even more because I'm just like, yo, what the heck? Like, I genuinely wish that did not happen to you, but there's nothing I could do. I hadn't talked to her in years. I just heard it through from what was told to me. And I she's in a whole nother state. All I could do is quite literally pray about it, and hope she finds a way out of that situation if it was true at the time. Because granted, I hadn't talked to her. It sounded just straight up like gossip. So a few years go by again. She ends up coming back to Philly. A family member tells me about it, and we end up meeting at my brother's graduation party. And first thing she does when she sees me is hug me and say, I'm so sorry, I should have listened to you. We in the middle of my brother's party crying together. She's telling me all the things that happened. Now she got 2 kids now. And she's completely divorced from him. She got away from him. She's still dealing with like the manipulation and all the other stuff. But and I told her, I said, none of this makes me feel good. Like I don't feel good knowing that this was going to happen to you and it coming into fruition. I never want that for anybody. Hence why this message is coming out now. I will repeat it as many times as Spirit wants me to say it. And this is why I'm scratching my nose, because I know Spirit is telling me like I'm on the right track with this story and somebody needs to hear this. You need to focus on yourself when you get here. Do you hear me? A marriage is not going to save you from your trauma. Okay. Me and that girl eventually fell off again for different reasons, but the sentiment is the same. When y'all come here, do what you can to establish yourself and distance emotionally from what life could have been or should be like. Accept it for what it is. Okay. Story number two, green card. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that word. I'm gonna let y'all sit with that word for a second because we all know the power of a green card. Mhm. So I have another friend. She's been in the States since she was little. You know, I'm the only one out of this friend group that's actually like born and raised here, but would travel back and forth, right? So we meet up at the same college. We are friends for years. She's one of the few girls, and you know, Salon is small. Sierra Leone is small, especially. So it's not like being Nigerian and Nigerians are everywhere. Like Salon community is very small. So I was ecstatic to have a friend that was actually from Sierra Leone that I could talk to in Creole and all that stuff. She wasn't Fulani, but I don't remember what tribe she was anyway, but I digress. Anyway, so we were set to graduate. I think she ends up graduating a semester ahead of me because I go and study abroad to Mexico. So she graduates and no, I think we were both in Philly at that time. At this point, yeah, she graduates ahead of me. I don't know what happens between like her dating life, but she isn't somebody that was dating a lot. Like she didn't have a little boyfriend in high school and things like that. That just wasn't her thing. She was very shy, very introverted to herself. So let's call her K, right? So um me and her had recently hung out. Uh I think for my birthday at the time. And I think it was like a few days or maybe a week or so had gone by. I hadn't heard from her and whatnot. We check in with each other. No, maybe it was longer than that. We check in with each other and she drops a bomb on me. Same thing. Same thing. I swear to God. It's a pattern. Um, I'm getting married on such and such weekend. Like, dude, you ain't even have a boyfriend. I'm like, who is this man? Like that really got you like, me thinking like she done met somebody out and about and things like that. No, it's another arranged marriage, you know. And not to say, and I'm not saying this story because all arranged marriages are bad. No, if your people's heart is in the right place, I think arranged marriages can work out very well for a lot of people. But that's if your community, your village is genuinely supporting you emotionally, physically, mentally, all the things, right? So I said, "Oh, okay, okay." So in my head, my ears are already perked up. I'm like, "This is a red flag already." I'm scared, but again, I'm listening. I'm like, "Okay, what's up? Like, tell me more about this guy. Like, what's going on? How did y'all meet? Da, da, da. Tell me the details, girl." And she's like, "Yeah, family friend. You know, he's actually on his way to America. He'll be here in like, wait, no, was he here already? No, he did. He just got here. Y'all, it was years ago, so forgive me. Um, he literally just got here. Quite literally just got here. He's on a green card on a visa, and they were talking over the phone for the last few months. I said, "Girl, why didn't you tell me?" She's like, because like it was still new and I wasn't sure, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Okay, granted, when things like this happen and it's your first time, you don't want to go tell everybody. You're trying to work it out. Completely understood that." And I said, "Okay, so tell me about him. Like, okay, he came over here. So what's his stats? Because me, I'm just like, okay, just because he got a green card don't mean that he like a bump. Like I want to know he might have a whole lot going on. His family might be super rich back at home. And like, he got the connections and things like that. And my girl about to level up in life. I'm thinking it's one of them. And she's like, "Oh no, is he?" I'm like, "Okay, so what?" He got his green card. Is he gonna go to school when he's here? No, he's just gonna work. So, okay. Um, at that point, I'm stumped because I'm like, what's the plan for him? Because it's one thing to build with a man and and live in a way that y'all are like structuring your life together, and it's another thing to go and be somebody else's workhorse and not benefit entirely from the situation, from the relationship at all. So I'm asking her, I was like, so where are y'all gonna stay if y'all are married? Because you live at home. Oh, he's gonna come live with us in the house. I was like, I'm like, Kay, I said, sis, like I gotta talk, I gotta be real with you. I said, you don't even have your own bedroom. Oh, my sister will go sleep with such and such in the place. I'm like, so we'll have our own room. You've never lived alone. You don't know. I didn't even have the language for it. I'm thinking about it in this mind space now, but back then I was just like that. That just don't sound right to me. It don't sound right. Now, granted, again, I'm Americanized, okay, but the fact of the matter is, even if I wasn't, at least how I was raised, whoever your partner is supposed to be able to support you, and that this person has nothing to their name. They're not from a family that has resources. They're not um, educated. They're literally coming here and figuring it out, which is cool. But you are educated. You have resources. You have a steady job. I'm over here. I'm like, yeah, I said, I really, really think you should take more time. You don't have to rush into this. You like him, great. I love that for you. But let him go stay with his family for a while. Y'all talk it out. Y'all date some more. You know, it doesn't have to be a rush marriage thing. Like, it don't have to be fast. Okay, y'all can still get married this time next year or 6 months from now. You know? She's like, no, like I really just wanna like get married now. And I'm like, okay. Now I'm thinking in my head there's other reasons too. Like she hasn't had a boyfriend. There might be like, she's interested in exploring other things with having a boyfriend. You know what all that comes with. So I'm just like, okay. So will you come? I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. Because in my head, I'm also thinking about Jay and what happened a few years ago. I'm just like, I can't sit through that again. And it's like, it might sound selfish, but it's also something very real to me and my experience. I've also been pressured into getting married as soon as I graduated. I had people calling me up as soon as I graduated. And so I give me nephew Naya. When I talk to him, when I can make party, like no. So I get it. I get it on all the different levels. I truly do. But what thing that I can never condone is using marriage as an escape for your situation. You're literally just running from one toxic situation to another. Now, I don't know what happened. I know the wedding did happen. I don't know if they're still married. Me and the girl fell off per usual because if your friend said they're not coming to your wedding, it's very natural for you not to be friends. And also there were other situations going on with the people that she was around that I wasn't cool with anymore. And that was also in addition to what was going on. And it's just so bothersome. It's so bothersome. It's so sad. And I don't want to see the same thing happen to anybody else. Okay. You are going to have to take your mental health seriously when you are over here. Whatever you are struggling through, you are going to have to build that resilience, build that courage, and build that knowledge. Okay. Okay. I don't want to sound redundant, but I hope those two stories sound, I'm sure they sound familiar to a lot of people. I hope those two stories and all the advice that I just gave resonates Every state has their resources, every city has their resources. You are in the modern age. Everything has an internet connection now. You are going to make it through no matter what, okay? But I need you to first invest in yourself, okay? Okay. Especially if you don't feel safe, especially if you know that you feel in your gut that there is a better way, there's a better life for you to live, there's more out there for you. I need you to take that courage, take that step, and go find out what that is for you, okay? Let me know if you have any questions down below. I'm gonna keep it short, I'm gonna keep it sweet. And yeah, maybe we'll do like a part two or something if there's enough questions. But all right, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my little breaky. And yeah, have a great day. Until next time, peace.